Hello. Welcome to my memoirs about being a member of the Tabernacle Choir. Today I want to talk about General Conference and the preparation that goes into that. So when I first joined the choir, Craig Jessup was the conductor, and he was truly a beloved conductor. He was so inspired and so connected to heaven in all of his counsel to us. And his counsel about General Conference preparation included a number of things. He suggested to us that we have a day of fasting and a day in the temple, and also to prepare the music carefully, not only with memorization and technically knowing our notes and words, but also preparing the music and the message of the music. And then he also suggested something that really was poignant, and that was to forgive someone or make a wrong right, mend a relationship. So these are the things that we really focused on as we prepared for General Conference. And it's interesting because the music was usually quite simple, and yet the messages were of utmost importance. I loved having a reserved seat at General Conference for 21 years. And I think I was able to participate in 43 conferences. And it was one of my favorite times of the year. Craig Jessup also believed that the General Conference was the most important thing that the choir did, more than a concert series or a world tour or our weekly broadcasts to the world. General Conference was the time when we really supported the prophet and were there for the benefit of the saints around the world, at a time when heaven and earth come together and revelation flows, doesn't it? So General Conference was just always a highlight. It was quite a demanding schedule. We were required to come Tuesday night and Thursday night, and those rehearsals would go for 2.5 to 3 hours. And then we were beckoned to come Saturday morning and be dressed and ready by 8 a.m. in the loft, ready to go. And that day ended at noon, because there was usually a guest choir that came in for the afternoon session. And then Sunday morning, we were in the loft and dressed usually by 7:15 a.m. But not for the conference sessions. We had the music and the spoken word broadcast to take care of first. And that broadcast was always very special because it was just in the conference center with all of the saints there waiting for the conference. So the spirit was always very, very strong, because you could feel the hearts of the people yearning to hear the prophet and yearning to participate together in the conference. So we would perform music and the spoken word at 9:30, and it was beautiful that the First Presidency and all of the general authorities were seated and there to support us and to listen to the program. And then at 9:58 or so, we would sing the opening hymn that would introduce the conference, where you'd see the conference center and you'd hear the choir singing. And then the conductor would come on of the conference. But Sunday was a really big day. We had the broadcast and the 2 sessions of conference. So we were not excused till about, well, till the end of conference, about 4:15 or so. They would give us a box lunch, so we would have that to tide us over in between the sessions. But it was a heavy lifting weekend, and we were admonished by our conductors to do that. There are times when we need to do heavy lifting, but conference, it just didn't seem like heavy lifting. It was light, because it was such a beautiful time to participate. And I have 4 sons, and they each served a mission for the church. And it was so special for me to know that they would be watching General Conference and they would be able to see their mom. And I know a lot of choir mothers feel the same way. And so that was really special to me, to connect with my sons, and also to connect with others that I knew and had association with that were serving missions. By the time all was said and done, the choir actually was given over an hour's worth of time at General Conference to fill. And so that was really humbling and a solemn feeling to recognize that responsibility. But the Lord was with us. I felt him so powerfully. At one moment, I envisioned him with his arms outstretched behind us, as if he were using us to reach the saints and to send out his love and his peace and his hope and faith. And I always remembered that, because that was a strengthening to me. And I prayed that I would feel his love for the saints, and also feel the love of the saints and their great desire to hear the words of the prophets and hear the word of the Lord at this special time of year. Some of the hymns that come to my mind as being memorable and very powerful, you will probably agree with me on some of these. How Firm a Foundation was just an amazing hymn, and I've probably sung it 80 times. I don't know how many times with the choir, but I never tire of it, because it is such a glorious hymn of the restoration and of our Savior's power, and that he will never leave us, and that he is our rock and our firm foundation. And also the foundation of prophets and apostles. That's part of that hymn as well, that I felt. So many of the hymns were pointing to our Savior and pointing to his second coming. I actually felt that my entire service with the choir. I felt so much of what we were singing was in preparation for his coming, as if we were singing of him. That's why I named my channel Sing of Christ, because that's truly what we do. Another hymn that comes to my mind that is often sung in general conferences, Consider the Lilies. And this is just a beloved song by the saints. I know that. And that was actually my first recording with the choir, was the CD called Consider the Lilies. And I will do a whole video about recording sessions at another time. But when we were recording that piece, I saw in my mind's eye the Savior himself on the podium with Craig Jessup. And it occurred to me, of course, the Lord is a perfect musician and knows all about the gift of divine music. But that has always stayed with me because I just knew his signature was upon that CD. Another hymn that comes to my mind for General Conference is We Thank Thee, O God, for a Prophet. And we would mostly sing that as a rest hymn, but I just loved singing that with gusto because I believed it with all of my heart.